love versus lust. As I said yesterday on the broadcast, a lot of times people don't necessarily understand that there's a difference. And oftentimes people are driven by their lust when they think that it's love, or they call it love, but it's really not, because love has a commitment. And next week on the broadcast, we'll go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and we'll get a good definition of what love in action is. But oftentimes we misconstrue it because we think it's all based upon emotion, and it's not. And the strong word here is commitment. Commitment. When something is so indwelt in our heart to say that we love it, then there has to be a commitment to it. James in his writings tells us every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Now, what this tells me, that this thing that we call lust lurks in the heart of every human, because it's a part of our carnal makeup, which takes me back to our teachings that we've talked about so much on this broadcast. John chapter 3, when Nicodemus wanted to know about the miracles. He said, how do you do these miracles? And Jesus said, you must be born again. And I have interpreted that to simply say that there has to be a different perspective. And that perspective has to be spiritual. And when a person comes to that reality, that they are both flesh and spirit, and the spirit becomes awoke within them, and that brings a totally different perspective of life. And a person goes from following the carnal with all of its lust to following the spirit that would lead us into life, and life more abundant. So this thing that James talks about, he says, every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own. And look at that now. His own lust. That which dwells within a person. That if we allow it to have its free reign, will cause us to become enticed. Now you say, well, what does that mean to say I'm enticed? Well, simply this. He said, I allow myself to follow something to its full conclusion. At any point, I could take control over this situation and turn away. Which brings me to the thought that a person is just minding their own business. And then all of a sudden, there's something that comes into their presence that they did not ask to be there, but it's there. What do you do with it? Do you entertain it? Do you dwell on it, or do you walk away or turn away? You see, that's a choice. That's a choice. But you see, in verse 15 of chapter 1, it says, when lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin. When it's followed to its full process, then it causes us to defile. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.